Did you say what kind of animal it was that attacked her?
So yeah, they're saying it's some type of animal attack. Statistically, there's been more animal attacks, mysterious deaths, people gone missing.
In other news, local authorities remain perplexed by the animal attacks.
What attacked you in the woods?
An animal. What else could it have been?
Welcome to It Was an Animal Attack, home of the supernatural drama series. I'm Sandile.
And I'm Fadzai.
And we're here in our second season of the podcast to talk to you about MTV's Teen Wolf. Dun, 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 dun. Hopefully I figured out the theme song by now. So, we're back. Teen Wolf. Fadzai, when did you first come to Teen Wolf?
I came to Teen Wolf. So my friend group in high school, some of them were already watching it. It was actually weirdly popular amongst my grade. Even people who weren't in my friend group were watching it. And I was not that interested. I was like, I've watched the Teen Wolf movie. I think there might have been a sequel, but I watched the Teen Wolf movie with Michael J. Fox. And I was like, it was a fun little comedy. I didn't need to see it rebooted. I wasn't interested. And they were like, I didn't know that there was a movie called Teen Wolf. And I was like, it's from the 80s. I'm an old soul. It's fine. And they were like, oh no, I don't think the show has anything to do with that. And I was like, okay, cool. Is the main character's name Scott? And they were like, yes. And I was like, then I think it is at least spiritually, in some sense, related to the movie. And then there was this running joke that I'm not going to get into in my friend group, which was referenced by something that someone had done in like, oh, last night's episode of Teen Wolf, guys, Scott did this, ha ha ha, it relates to that thing we're always joking about. And I was like, now I'm getting FOMO because I want to know what's going on with this show. But still, I didn't care enough to go out of my way to look for it because I was busy watching Glee, okay?
Right.
High caliber art.
And who has the time to watch some weird MTV show when you're busy watching the pinnacle of network TV?
You know? And then one day, I guess it started airing on Vuzu at a time that was convenient to me. Does Vuzu still exist? I'm not even sure.
No idea.
And then I think I caught it, as I do a lot of things I've come to love. I caught it in the middle. I think it was the tail end. It was actually the tail end of the whole Derek thing.
Wow, okay.
I think I literally came in the final battle and Jennifer Blake is killed. And I'm like, what is going on? I was like, what is this thing? What is this face?
Teacher looking white woman
what is happening?
Throwing people around. And then her face becomes broccoli. That's wild.
I was like, okay, so this is nothing like Michael J. Fox. And then I'm not sure if it was the same episode. It might have been slightly afterwards. I think it was slightly afterwards. Then suddenly people are drowning themselves to activate a tree stump.
Yeah.
And I was like, the show is so trippy. I love it.
It's so crazy to come in and arguably the big shift in Teen Wolf in terms of what kind of show it is. You came in at the most abstract moment you possibly could have.
So insane. But I still wasn't watching it religiously. When I really dived in and I was like, I'm going to follow the show properly, is again, I came in at the tail end of an episode. There was a live wire and there was Arden Cho, Kira Yukimura, just grabbing it and absorbing the electricity. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, that's season 3A going into season 3B. That's so cool. And then you went back and watched it from the beginning, or you just kept going straight on?
I'm trying to remember now. I think I probably finished the Nogitsune arc. And then obviously then there's that break where it's not airing because the new season is still coming. And then I think I went back and watched properly.
Okay.
Like the seasons I'd missed. Yeah.
So slightly different tack. I came in on the 11th episode of season 1, which was playing on Vuzu, which is a channel we did not have in our package. So it would every now and then on a weekend switch on so they could make you feel bad that you didn't have certain channels on DSTV, and then you would waste money buying them.
It's crazy.
And so I saw Teen Wolf very briefly, and I remember it was the formal episode, and I remember vividly
my prom
Scott dancing
cotillion homecoming. What?
the prom cotillion formal. And Scott was dancing with Danny to get away from Coach for some reason that I didn't know of at the time. And I was like, gay? Oh no, joke gay. But it doesn't feel bad. this is new. And then I remember the bus scene where Scott and Allison are in the bus, and Scott, I can't remember why he's transformed, maybe to fight off somebody or because it's a full moon, who knows. And that's the moment where she finds out that he's a werewolf, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so I kept watching from that point onwards because, like you, I was catching it live, and some people watching it. This was around the time of Vampire Diaries. The Arrowverse was about to kick up. I was also watching Once Upon a Time at the time. This was my foray into watching like American television in earnest, and I just kept going. And I only saw the movie that it is very loosely based on. Like, after season 3, I just happened to play on, like, Mnet movies or, like, Universal Channel or something stupid like that. And I was like, that's fun. They've got the names, but this is, like, a lighthearted, like, romp. It's like an 80s teen high school movie.
I don't think the source material, if you want to call it that, I don't think the original movie really affects the viewing experience one way or another.
Not even a little
Apart
bit.
from 2 characters who are, like, in name only adaptations. Like, there's nothing. Like, what's he's got it's the typical 80s thing of, like, oh, I'm in love with this popular person who's actually not good for me, and I'm ignoring my best friend who's not the same gender as me.
Right.
And then eventually I realize, you're the one I've always wanted, and I end up with you.
Right, and he just so happens to be a werewolf completely covered in hair, which nobody has an issue with because he's good at basketball.
That's quite
It's
insane. I had heard of Teen Wolf, like, growing up because it's like one of those super famous movies from that era. And when I finally watched it, it was like 2010. I think it was like the Australian era for me. And I watched it with like my mom and my brother, and I was like, oh, so in the movie, and this was 2010, so like the era of like Twilight and all that. And I was like, there is no masquerade in this universe. He's just he loses control publicly. Everyone sees he's a werewolf, and he's like, okay, and they're all like,
all right,
yeah, cool. And suddenly he's famous.
Just keep going, and he's huge because he's very athletic. So weird.
And I was like,
oh man,
all right. The government doesn't want to come whisk you away and do experiments.
Right, the CIA isn't bringing you into a private program. It's very atypical if you're looking back at it from the lens that we have from the supernatural stuff we grew up with, which is very funny. But yeah, speaking of the current Teen Wolf, the series, I think maybe I can't think of another MTV production that was like stepping into this genre. The MTV typically did like reality stuff, and then when they went into fictional, it was like teen drama, college drama, that kind of vibe. The only other ones I can think of are Faking It and Awkward. Which was somewhat popular in their own right, but nothing supernatural about them, nothing fantastical, you know.
I still haven't watched Awkward. Did it get cancelled halfway like Faking It did?
No, I think it got like 6 seasons or something.
Oh, wow.
Awkward did.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
where did Hellcats come on? Because I knew Hellcats was also on Vuzu, but I don't know where it originated, like, in
No
America.
idea. All I know is it had, what's her name?
Ashley
Blonde girly.
Tisdale with her natural
Ashley
brown hair for the
Tisdale.
only time ever that we've seen her act with brown hair.
And I only know that because of the Vampire Diaries audition, she passed up to be in that show. But yeah, Teen Wolf was an interesting one because it had that same vibe of the other teen shows on its network, but it was also like very horror-esque. I thought that happened later on, but right from the beginning, they are very much playing it like almost horror slasher vibes with the werewolf stuff, even if the CG and the effects aren't quite matching up to what they're shooting for. Looking back on it is very endearing.
I mean, hey,
And
listen, I always say I'm a Buffy fan. I would much rather see Willow throw lightning that looks like it was made on Windows Movie Maker than have witches who can't do spells.
No, true. And that's something that is true of Teen Wolf, is that in terms of their like lore and mythology and like the things that exist that are supernatural, they go bonkers straight up. Like even their werewolves are not werewolves. There's some like mix of a bunch of things that are like empathic and telepathic and like time dilating and like transmogrifying. Like the werewolves do so much, it's kind of crazy. And there's so many other archetypes that come in. But for whatever reason, if you don't know what Teen Wolf is about and you're here just because you like us, it follows Scott McCall, rare lead of color in these supernatural TV shows, but I digress. He and his best friend Styles are goofing off in the woods as teen boys are wont to do in Southern California. I think they're going to see a dead body because Styles' dad is a cop.
Yeah.
And then Scott gets bitten by a werewolf and becomes a werewolf. And it follows his journey through that transformation, through regular puberty in high school, having arch rivals, liking the new girl who's moved to town, trying out for sports, and running from werewolf hunters who want you dead existentially. It is a lot of fun. And it makes a lot of bold choices, is what I'll say of Teen Wolf, as compared to its counterparts. It really just goes so many places, for better or worse, over its 6-season run. But it definitely, like a lot of these shows, declines. Actually, it races up in quality up till season 3 and then declines consistently in the back half.
They always do it. It's like what would you call that graph mathematically? Like there's an ascension, and then halfway you reach your peak.
Yeah.
And then after that halfway mark, you just descend.
We call that a parabola. It's the displacement time graph of a ball being thrown up into the air. It kind of like curves upwards, reaches a max height, curves downwards, hits the ground. Yeah. But a lot of fun, a lot of great characters in it, which is really for me the drive of Teen Wolf. Like, even when the story's kind of whatever, the characters are fun. Again, like, the bold choices they make are at least interesting, even if they are sometimes a bit silly.
A lot of familiar faces from other supernatural things we've seen or would eventually see, which is kind of funny.
The Rolodex spins inevitably, and it spins consistently.
Like no spoilers. I won't say who, but at a certain point we see Father Kieran in this show.
We do see Father K! That's so true! Gosh, I forgot about it. That was the first time I saw him, and then I saw him in the originals. That was wild. Yeah, good old Father K. Who plays D&D in real life, that actor? Todd Stashwick.
Okay. For some reason, something about him, I think it's his eyes, because he has like these really like light blue eyes, but like this dark hair. He occupies a similar space in my mind as Cheyenne Jackson.
Yes.
And I don't know why.
No, I see it immediately. That is exactly the same man. One's just got more hair for whatever reason. I guess the only other thing I'd want to say is that we're going to be doing things a little differently this season versus our first season, which is The Vampire Diaries. Speaking of which, if this is your starting point, you haven't heard our first season, it's a lot of fun. Very long, though. So we're going to sort of tighten things up for our second season. Less recapping the overall story, because the overall story of Teen Wolf is incredibly chaotic and at times very inconsistent. So we're just going to be focusing on characters, kind of zooming in on them, putting the lens on who they were during the story. But it should still be the same sorts of discussions and the same kind of fun that you got from us last season. First episode should come through on your feeds in the next week or two, depending on how I play this, because life is chaos right now and I'm still planning it out. But that's all from me. Anything else for Zai?
That's all I can think of. Hindsight is 2020. I'll think of something else later, and then I'll be like, I'll work it in. I'll work it in afterwards.
Okay. Well, in that case, we hope you stick with us for season 2. Expect characters, villains, lore, nonsense, more spin-offs. And if you have any questions, thoughts about the matter, or just want to say hi, remember, you can mail us at animalattackpod@gmail.com. You can also tweet us at animattackpod. That's at ANIM Attack Pod. You'll find the link tree in our bio that has all our online stuff. We welcome you to season 2, now entering Beacon Hills. Cheers.
Bye.